Just days before Battleground, WWE NXT promised an important night last night. The NXT Women's Championship Tournament would determine its final two competitors, and top names would battle just days before big title matches. Roxanne Perez hoped to reclaim the NXT Women's Championship by defeating Tiffany Stratton to reach the finals, while Cora Jade hoped to overcome Lyra Valkyria to capture her first taste of gold. Eddie Thorpe faced the biggest challenge of his career to date, battling one of the top contenders to the NXT North American Championship, Tyler Bate. Wes Lee and Joe Gacy would be watching the big strong boy closely. Noam Dar wanted to make an example out of Nathan Frazier days before facing Dragon Lee for the Heritage Cup. Axiom planned to conquer NXT's mountain by challenging Dabba-Kato. Last night's show had some work left to do in solidifying the card for Sunday's Battleground in Lowell, Massachusetts, including setting up some final hype for Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Breaker. Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness. Don't adjust your audio. I am Anthony Florio, your host tonight, sitting in for good old MF Michael Fletcher. A little under the weather this evening, but we hope to have him back with us tomorrow night for TXN Sports World. But for tonight, I am joined by the phenom Michael Bullock, and we got NXT, we got AEW Dynamite, and we have Game 4 of the Celtics chat. But let's not waste any more time. Dive on in. Last night, NXT go-home show for Battleground, and we started it with the first semifinal match in the Women's Championship Tournament, as it was Lyra Valkyria squaring off against Cora Jade, and Lyra Valkyria wins the match in 3 minutes and 41 seconds. I'll tell you what, despite the hype, Jade versus Valkyria could not even pass the 5-minute mark before an awkward sudden finish. While it was a welcome shocker in a predictable tournament, the crowd was not ready for the finish when it came. A couple of sloppy moments in the match showed two women rushing to make the most of unnecessarily limited minutes. It took away from the moment as Valkyria got the biggest and most important win of her career to date. This victory cannot be taken away from the Valkyrie. She is now in the biggest spot of her career. The post-match attack on Jade may weaken her chances to win, but she has better odds to win the tournament leaving this show than she had coming in. And Valkyria tripped while attempting a springboard move, but Jade put herself in position to recover the situation quickly, taking a suplex from her opponent. And later, Valkyria told Mackenzie Mitchell that she did not believe she tore anything in her leg and it was just bruised. She then declared that she wanted Roxanne Perez in the final. We'll find out if that happens. But for right now, I could only give this a 1.5 to 2-star effort. Not much more to say. Michael Bullock, how about it? Lyra Valkyria, biggest win of her career to date. Could it lead to an even bigger win on Sunday night against either Roxanne Perez or Tiffany Stratton?
I'll tell you what, Florio. I mean, when I saw this match, part of me was thinking Cora Jade was going to win it because, I mean, look, nothing against Lyra Valkyria. I thought it would be like too soon for her because look, she's still like new to this NXT roster, and Cora Jade I felt like was the better person to go over here. But obviously, I guess they have high hopes for Lyra Valkyria to basically put her into the finals. But despite all that, this was a short match. Very disappointing. I thought we could get more from this, but unfortunately that was not the case. So I'm with you. I can only give this about 1.5 stars on this one. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, Bullock, let's move on to our next match. As it was Axiom squaring off against Dabba-Kato. Dabba-Kato wins the match. 1 minute and 56 seconds. Yeah, we're gonna bypass this. The only reason we addressed the last match was because it's the women's title tournament. But this one, this was the vintage meh NXT match, So I'll briefly say NXT has established Axiom as one of the top names in the company. He was in a position to genuinely challenge the big man, but he got squashed in less than 2 minutes instead. While the result makes sense to establish a new top giant, Axiom deserved a better showing. It looks as though Scripps will be working with the superhero after the short feud between them fell short. Maybe they can build an interesting athletic tag team in the division that could use fresh faces. So that was a dud. So we're not even gonna acknowledge that. Then we had an in-ring segment with the Gallus boys, and they cut a promo, and they were interrupted by the Creed brothers, and the match is now official. It will be the Gallus boys defending the NXT Tag Team Championships against the Creed brothers Sunday night at Battleground. So, fine, simple segment to build the NXT Tag Team Championship match for Battleground. It took until later for confirmation that Gallus versus the Creeds was the plan for Battleground, not involving the family at all. After months of agreeing to any fight, Gallus played the cowardly heels in this segment, which was a marked downgrade. They should be willing to fight anyone rather than hoping to avoid challengers. And as far as what happened with Tony D'Angelo, the Don has apparently been in lockup for a full week since he was brought in for questioning without arrest. If the point is to build sympathy, it's an unusual tactic, given the police are only arresting him for his own illegal activities. So we'll bypass that as well. But we are going to get in. We'll get into this though. Tyler Bate squaring off against Eddie Thorpe. Tyler Bate winning minutes in 3 seconds. Michael Bullock, fun little sprint, I would say here.
What did you say the time of the fall was? You got cut off there.
5 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yeah, it was a fun little sprint, but I give this about 1.5 to 2 for the effort. Again, it was just another short match, so nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. The match was solid enough, though neither man got to hit more than their signature offense before the finish. NXT has done good work in protecting Thorpe, and it was always going to be dangerous to book his first loss. While he is not ready to beat Tyler Bate yet, his loss was made an afterthought, devaluing the entire purpose of the bout. The triple threat title match with Tyler Bate versus Joe Gacy versus Wes Lee for the North American Championship has a clear story, but if the plan is for either Tyler Bate or Joe Gacy to dethrone Wes Lee, it would be more impactful to set up a future singles bout for that moment. And the North American, and not too much to really speak of here. So Wes Lee was on commentary and agreed Gacy was easier to trust than Bate because he was upfront about his intentions. And then Bate and Lee got into a shoving contest after Gacy walked away. So that is that. So this was, I'll give it 2.5 for the effort. Then we had Noam Dar squaring off against Nathan Frazier, and Nathan Frazier wins the match. 12 minutes and 56 seconds. You could easily make an argument that this was the fight of the night. This was very, very good. This was 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. This was the first match on last night's show to get actual time. And it was very good action, even if Noam Dar is not connecting with the fans despite a frequent TV focus. The chemistry between these men was electric. The offensive sequences were among the best NXT has seen in recent months. Frazier has the opposite problems to Dar. He effortlessly invested the crowd despite some wonky booking in recent months. Hopefully this win is the first step toward a much-deserved push. Long-term, NXT may have made the right call with this result, but it does not add any hype to Noam Dar versus Dragon Lee for the Heritage Cup, with Dar losing his second match back on the brand. Frazier bounced off the ropes repeatedly, stopping and readjusting to avoid a counter from Dar before sending him to the floor with a running single leg dropkick. Frazier used the springboard flip to set him up for a perfect reverse DDT. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. One of the fights of the night, if not the fight of the night. So Michael Bullock, what a match. Nathan Frazier knocking off Noam Dar. Tough loss for Noam Dar as he prepares to defend his Heritage Cup against Dragon Lee at Battleground.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, Florio, I mean, with that loss, I mean, he loses some momentum going into that matchup defending his Heritage Cup against Dragon Lee. So I'm sure that's something he certainly couldn't afford, and unfortunately that's what happened. So, but still was a great match and a big win for Nathan Frazier here. So 3.5, 3.75. This was to me the fight of the night. So it's yours, Florio.
All right. All right. Let's see what's up next here. We had after that Hank Walker versus Tank Ledger. Hank Walker wins the match, 2 minutes, 41 seconds. Yeah, that was a dud. We're not going to waste any time on that. And then we had an in-ring segment. Gigi Dolan comes out and she called out JC Jane, and JC Jane came out and they had a back and forth. And then JC Jane asked for a match on next week's show. JC wanted to be a steel cage match, but Gigi Dolan said, no, let's up the ante. Let's make it a weaponized steel cage match. Whoa. Michael Bullock, do we have a quick thought on this? Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, next week on NXT in a weaponized cage match?
Boy, you want to talk about brutality, Florio. I mean, a steel cage is bad enough, but now you add weapons to it. This is going to take brutality to a whole new level, especially with the way these two can't stand each other. And I guess they figured this is the only way they're going to settle their feud once and for good inside of us. Not just a steel cage, but a steel cage with weapons. So I'm interested to see how that goes.
Absolutely. Weaponized cage match is WWE's rebranding of Impact's Lethal Lockdown match. Simply a cage match with weapons hanging off the walls. And the promo dragged, but that's because the feud is dragged. I mean, mostly due to consequence because their last two matches were shortened due to 2 injuries. Maybe third time's the charm. Well, we'll have to wait and find out. So that's really all there was to say on that. And segments like that reiterate that NXT is a developmental brand. Dolan and Jane would never have gotten away with a sloppy back and forth like this with a packed Raw or SmackDown crowd in attendance. JC Jane's promo cadence was grating. Dolan called herself completely authentic, but delivered her taunts without much enthusiasm. NXT has put more behind this feud than it has earned. Hopefully, the weaponized steel cage match next week proves this was all worth it. Von Wagner went up against Luca Crucifino. Luca Crucifino wins the match via disqualification, 2 minutes and 38 seconds. This was another dud. I'll say this. This was the most interesting Von Wagner has ever been, and the crowd completely bought in. The big man had the perfect slimy foil to battle, setting up a feud that looks like it could last beyond last night's show. And NXT may have finally found an avenue to draw out Wagner's charisma. He seems far more comfortable as the avenging babyface giant than the awkward heel destroyer. So that's all I'm going to say on this. This was another dud. We're not going to waste any time on that. And then the main event of the evening, as far as in-ring action was concerned, the second semifinal match in the NXT Women's Championship Tournament, Roxanne Perez squaring off against Tiffany Stratton. And Tiffany Stratton wins the match, 9 minutes and 39 seconds. I'll tell you what, second best fight of the night for me. I'm going to give this about 3, maybe 3.25. And I'll also go as far as to say this was the best match of the tournament so far. While getting much more time than the first semifinal helped, this was also a far better dynamic from the opening bell. Stratton and Perez may have the best chemistry of any pairing in the women's division. The sequences were phenomenal while never looking contrived. When the action slowed, the story kicked in, selling Perez as the wily veteran looking to overcome her disadvantage in size and athleticism with timely counters. It was the most complete women's match in NXT in years. The center of the universe has earned her stripes as a top woman in NXT. she is likely to beat Lyra Valkyria, but hopefully both will get the time to make their case as the future of the women's division. Stratton caught Perez diving and transitioned into a rolling fireman's carry. The Prodigy ducked the follow-up moonsault and planted her rival with a Thesz press. The center of the universe hit the Prodigy with a picture-perfect spine buster and then went to the top rope. Perez sent her back to the mat with a Frankensteiner. After the match, Tiffany Stratton and Lyra Valkyria stared each other down, and then a masked attacker ambushed Roxanne Perez in the background. And then the show ended with Dijak and Ilya Dragunov brawling before signing the contract for their last man standing match. And then it was followed by a Battleground hype video. So that's really all there is to say there. So this was 3 to 3.25 stars for the effort here. So there isn't much more to say on that. Michael Bullock, you got your final. We have the final. It will be Lyra Valkyria versus Tiffany Stratton for the vacant NXT Women's Championship this Sunday night at Battleground. Tiffany Stratton defeating Roxanne Perez 9 minutes and 39 seconds in what I felt was far and away the best match of this tournament so far.
Yeah, this was definitely the best match of this tournament so far. I mean, when you got two women like Roxanne Perez and Tiffany Stratton, you know it's going to be something good, and that's what we got here. 3.25 is my rating for this. I'm going to be honest with you, Florio, on this one. I was torn because part of me wanted to see Roxanne Perez move on to the final because remember, Florio, Roxanne Perez, she never lost that title. I mean, I thought maybe she would, but to me, in all honesty, the right woman did go over. Tiffany Stratton, now she's got to face Lyra Valkyria at Battleground. And you know what? I'm already going to go on the record of saying this, Florio. We don't even have to wait till when we preview this. Tiffany Stratton's going to come out the winner and new NXT Women's Champion because she's proven it time and time again that she's worthy of that championship. And I think her time is about to come. So 3.25, it's yours.
All right, Bullock, let's get into your overall thoughts on this. Yeah, there were some good matches, but I think, unfortunately, there was way too much negative than positive on this go-home show.
Yeah, a go-home show. Let's just say this was a major disappointment here. I mean, way too many negatives. We had 3 dud matches here. That's way too many here. And, I mean, yes, you had some good matches, but unfortunately, it could not overcome the negative. So because of that, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to come down hard on them. 3.5 out of 10. Very, very disappointing here. So Florio, it's yours. 3.5 is my rating.
A better than expected main event and strong showing from Nathan Frazier and Noam Dar could not make up for a rushed night of action as a whole. NXT was so focused on building forward to Battleground, and beyond that, almost nothing had time to breathe. The opener should have gotten as much time as the main event, and Axiom and Eddie Thorpe should have received more spotlight and losses. Even from a go-home show perspective, this edition was too unfocused. Dijak versus Ilya Dragunov benefited from the chaotic vibe, but matches such as Wes Lee versus Tyler Bate versus Joe Gacy and Gallus versus the Creeds could have used a stronger focus. NXT has always taken a fast-paced approach, but the quality was lacking from the shortened performances of a talented roster. Michael Bullock, I am right there with you. 3 to 3.5 out of 10. A dismal show last night. So there isn't much more to say on that. Let us now move on to, speaking of go-home shows, so the go-home show for AEW. This was AEW Dynamite. As we are in Double or Nothing week. AEW arrived in Las Vegas tonight at the historic MGM Grand Garden Arena for an episode of Dynamite that set the stage for Sunday's Double or Nothing pay-per-view and was headlined by another gutsy international championship defense by Orange Cassidy. Freshly Squeezed battled Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Open on a night in which top stars addressed the AEW fans one last time before their high-stakes matches on pay-per-view, and others made one last push for momentum ahead of the signature event. What went down? How did it affect the build for Double or Nothing? And how did each match and segment rate? Find out now with this recap of the go-home edition of AEW's flagship show. AEW Dynamite live from the MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. The go-home show for Double or Nothing. And just bear with me for a moment as I get my notes for this. Okay. There we go. And we started it off with the battle for the AEW International Championship. The champion, Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy, defending against Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Open. And the winner of the match, in 15 minutes and 5 seconds, and still the AEW International Champion, Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy. Easily one of the fights of the night here. No question about it. You could easily make an argument for fight of the night if you wanted to. The match was solid, but was way too reminiscent of last week's match between Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Roosh, in which the heel beat the ever-loving hell out of the babyface before a cheap roll-up won the match for Jungle Boy. At least in this instance, Orange Cassidy was not the top contender to the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Still, it felt a bit too much like the story that Matt Match told, and more importantly, the idea of Cassidy taking the punishment he did and still kicking out of a move as devastating as an avalanche Michinoku driver was a bit much. Orange Cassidy has been great as champion, the workhorse of AEW, and one of the legit stars of the first half of this year for the promotion. But it certainly feels like his title reign might be nearing its end, potentially as soon as Sunday night in that big 21-man Blackjack Battle Royale. Fletcher rocked Cassidy with a kick and brainbuster for a 2 count in the opening seconds of the match, not allowing the champion to investigate his mind games. Cassidy delivered beach break on the floor to slow his opponent's momentum. Fletcher delivered consecutive tombstone pile drivers and added an avalanche Michinoku driver, but Orange Cassidy still kicked out as the commentary team put over his resilience. Fletcher tried the pile driver one too many times, and Orange Cassidy countered into a roll-up for the pinfall win and successful title defense. 3 3/4, teetering on 4 stars. One of the fights of the night, if not the fight of the night. You can easily make an argument for that. So, not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, Orange Cassidy, continuing to make that AEW International Championship the workhorse title in AEW. And we lost Michael Bullock. I'm sure he probably hit the wrong button. I'm sure we'll get him back in a matter of moments. So we definitely await the Phenom's return here. So, all right, just awaiting his arrival here. Should be back in momentarily. So, all right, I apologize for the dead air here. I'm just awaiting for Michael Bullock to return here. And he probably hit the wrong button, I'm sure. So, I'm sure he'll be back with us momentarily. So, hopefully we didn't lose him. All right, we should be getting him back momentarily. So, okay, there he is. All right, Bullock.
Yeah, I hit him by mistake.
That's all right. Orange Cassidy successfully defends the International Championship against Kyle Fletcher of the Aussie Open. 15 minutes, 5 seconds. Orange Cassidy continuing to make that International Championship the workhorse title in AEW, but now he's going to be in for the toughest defense yet as part of that Blackjack Battle Royale Sunday at Double or Nothing.
Oh, what did you give it?
I gave it 3 3/4 to 4.
Yeah, 3 3/4 to 4 stars. This match, this match was better than the entire NXT episode. And this was only one match. Go figure. But yeah, Orange Cassidy, he continues to do it again. He continues to defy the odds and continues to deliver us matches that we definitely enjoy. But now, like you said, he's got a big big task ahead of him with that blackjack battle royal at Double or Nothing. I mean, he's overcome so many different challengers. Can he do it again at the biggest event for AEW Double or Nothing? Well, we're just gonna have to wait and find out. So 3 3/4 to 4. So it is yours, Florio.
All right. And then there was a promo segment, FTR, the World Tag Team Champions, interrupted by Mark Briscoe, and then eventually interrupted by Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Karen Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt, and all them. The title match Sunday night is secondary to the drama surrounding Briscoe, and while that's perfectly acceptable, it would be nice to see the generational team of FTR be involved in a feud that was about the titles and establishing their legacies as the best of this generation. They did, after all, re-sign with AEW in an attempt to continue their quest to sustain the credibility of tag team wrestling. Booking them to battle a makeshift team of Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal rather than any number of actual teams on the AEW roster is certainly a choice. And some small highlights here. I mean, Cash Wheeler saying, more than anything, you're lucky. Sunday, your luck runs out. And then Dax Harwood saying, you've broken 1 million damn guitars and you still can't stay relevant. And then Harwood told Jay Briscoe, last year we went to war with you and your brother 3 times, and this time we go to war for you. And then Mark Briscoe slapped Dax Harwood in response to the pile driver he suffered at the hands of the blinded tag champ on last week's show. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. Then we had another one of the House of Black matches, the open house match for the AEW World Trios Championships. The House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews, with the beautiful Julia Hart in their corner, squaring off against AR Fox, Blake Christian, and Grand Metalik. You remember Grand Metalik from WWE, of course. Winners of the match in 5 minutes and 20 seconds, and still the AEW Trios champions. It was the House of Black. Michael Bullock, now this was a fun little sprint.
Oh yeah, this was a fun little sprint here, and one I definitely enjoy. I'll give this about 2.25 for this match. I mean, yeah, and the champions definitely stay the champions. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah. The action-packed, albeit short match, highlighted the high-flying offense of the babyfaces, but the otherwise physical dominance of the champions stood out. Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews have been presented well under the open house challenge gimmick and are beating challengers convincingly. Still, one cannot help but notice that the prestige and profile of the trios titles have fallen off since the former champions dropped them. That is unfortunate, but at least the House of Black is being presented and pushed like the force of nature it should have been a long time ago. Buddy Matthews stomped AR Fox into the mat in ode to former teammate Seth freaking Rollins before applying a standing modified cloverleaf, the Prism Trap, a nod to his real life girlfriend, SmackDown Women's Champion Rhea Ripley. And Malachi Black applied a knee bar to Grand Metalik. Buddy Matthews retained the cloverleaf, and Brody King choked Blake Christian out to score the submission win. I'll give it 2.5 for the effort. So nothing more to say on this. Then we had another promo segment involving the 4 pillars. The big main event. We had the AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF interrupted by Darby Allin. And then eventually Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy, they showed up. So I'll say it like this. If there was any match on the Double or Nothing card that deserved better build than it has received, it is the 4-way for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship between the company's young pillars, MJF, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Not only has the content of the build been underwhelming, but it has put the 3 challengers in a position to verbally spar with MJF. something they simply cannot do. They are fighting lightsabers with stones, a losing battle that has been painfully obvious over the last 3 months, especially when a motivated, drive, chip on his shoulder MJF cuts a scathing promo the likes of which he did here. He was enthralling, engaging, and brought back to the forefront the very real possibility that he is taking his ball and leaving AEW at the conclusion of his contract on New Year's Eve. That one promo was more intriguing than anything that has gone on over the course of this feud, which might be among the biggest indictments of all creative ahead of Double or Nothing. Thankfully, it was MJF's sell job on the mic that elevated because without it, it was staring down another average on a show full of them at this point. But MJF said, "I feel like I want Jungle Boy Jack Perry to be thrown into an echo chamber so he could listen to himself speak and bore himself to death." And then he also said, 4 years later, we have given you the best matches and best moments in the history of this company. We are not just part of AEW. Bleep it. We are AEW. And MJF reminded the fans and Tony Khan that his contract is coming up. You should be worried because I might just take my ball and go home. And then Darby Allin said, to be the face of AEW, I need to be AEW World Heavyweight Champion. This Sunday, I will take your AEW World Heavyweight Championship, and I might even do with it a headlock takeover. And I might even do it with a headlock takeover, Darby warned, recalling the traditional hold that MJF used to defeat the face-painted anti-hero in their last encounter. And Sammy Guevara made the save for Darby Allin, who suffered a low blow, and Jungle Boy laid out MJF on the ramp and held the belt up. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So that's all there really was to say here. Then we had Taya Valkyrie squaring off against Lady Frost, and Taya Valkyrie wins the match, 7.5 minutes. I believe I take this one first spin here. I'll tell you what. I know Michael Bullock knows who Taya Valkyrie is because, you know, she was briefly in NXT when she was Frankie Monet. But I know, Bullock, you probably don't know who Lady Frost is before tonight, but I do know who Lady Frost is. She did some work in Impact Wrestling. She wrestled quite a few matches for Impact Wrestling, actually, and had a solid stint there, but I think she might be All Elite now, but I think she also does work with Ring of Honor as well. So yeah. Let me see here. The TBS Championship feud between Jade Cargill and Taya Valkyrie limped along tonight with no real fire or excitement whatsoever surrounding it, despite a perfectly accepted match between Valkyrie and the vastly underrated Lady Frost. There was no physicality, no promo, or anything even remotely close to a heat-inducing angle involving champion and challenger ahead of their match Sunday night. It was a flat segment that failed to hype up the fans in the MGM Grand Garden Arena and really highlighted just how lackluster the creative around Jade Cargill, the TBS title, and Taya Valkyrie has been. It is massively disappointing given how much of a star Cargill obviously is, how strong a challenger Taya Valkyrie is, and the potential that exists for a solid match between the two at Double or Nothing. You saw Jade Cargill, Leela Gray, and Smart Mark Sterling watching from the top of the ramp. Valkyrie sent a message loudly and clearly with her Road to Valhalla finisher, reminding Cargill that she can use the move Sunday at Double or Nothing, unlike the first time they competed against each other. And then following the match, Tony Khan announced that the debut of AEW Collision on Saturday night, June 17th, will take place in Chicago at the United Center. Surely there will be no rampant speculation of headlines stolen because of it. But
and I don't know about you, Florio. Why do I get this funny feeling that this is where we're going to see the return of CM Punk?
you think?
I mean, why the heck are they doing this in Chicago?
I can only wonder.
I think that's the ultimate dead giveaway that CM Punk's coming back on that first episode of Collision.
Got to be.
I mean, hello. The last time when they did that AEW, what was it? AEW Rampage in Chicago.
Yep.
That was when we finally saw the debut of CM Punk. So it's clear that I think this is where we're going to get the return of CM Punk.
And if that's the case, the question is, will that pop be bigger than the pop he got on that Rampage a couple years ago? We'll have to wait and find out. But nonetheless, as far as this match is concerned with Valkyrie and Frost, I'll give it 2.5 to 2 3/4 for the effort because it was a solid match. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, your thoughts as Tyra Valkyrie, I'm sorry. It sounds so much alike, doesn't it? Taya Valkyrie defeating Lady Frost in 7.5 minutes. And I'm guessing this is probably the first time you've seen Lady Frost wrestle. And if so, how'd she look to you? I've seen her before many times in Impact.
Yeah, she looked real good. I mean, from seeing her for the first time. I mean, yeah, she definitely gave Taya Valkyrie all she can handle, but in the end, Taya was the right person to go over to give her that momentum. And you know what, Florida, I'm with you. I mean, this whole feud between Taya and Jade has been utterly disappointing. I mean, we had no promo, no brawl between them, and I mean, I still think it's going to be a good match. But the thing is, the build is just freaking sucked because of I mean, the creative behind this whole feud has just been left us with more questions than answers. So I still think it's going to be a good match, but the build for this has been just, I'm sorry to say this to you, Florio, flat. So 2.5, 2 3/4, it's yours, Florio.
All right. And then what do we have? Oh, your favorite Bullock, the contract signing. What does that mean there, JBL?
It ain't gonna end well, and especially when you got two guys who literally can't stand each other.
It was the contract signing for the non-sanctioned match at Double or Nothing. It was Chris Jericho and Adam Cole, and then, well, it's not often we get this on AEW, but we had a 2-for-1 deal. As then we had a match with Roderick Strong squaring off against Daniel Garcia, and Roderick Strong won the match 8 minutes and 45 seconds. So, but if you noticed during the, I'll say it like this when it comes to the contract signing. Adam Cole and Chris Jericho signed the contract for their non-sanctioned match at Double or Nothing, and true to form for the company, excess reigned wild as the babyface revealed that he had recruited ECW legend Sabu to back him up in his battle against the Jericho Appreciation Society. Why? Apparently, common sense and explanations are not needed. The segment did nothing to enhance the feud or drum up any additional excitement for Sunday's match, and if anything, took the attention off of the central feud and put it on the gimmicky booking of Sabu as backup. Despite the talent involved, like the 4-way AEW title match, the booking of this program has been lacking, to say the least. The angle involving Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, which really heated things up, feels like a lifetime ago, to the point that the unsanctioned gimmick feels like one tacked on to heighten the significance of the match rather than being the next logical step in the feud. This did not hit. The introduction of Sabu as a spot performer made little sense, and the result was a massively disappointing segment between two guys who are absolutely capable of more than what they had to work with tonight. Adam Cole told Chris Jericho, AEW should be happy this is a non-sanctioned match because the blood will not be on their hands but on mine, and that's just how I like it. And Adam Cole also said, Sunday night, we're going to find out if you can write because I'm going to break both your hands. So if I were you, I would hurry up and sign the paper, bleep. And then Jericho taunted Adam Cole, replaying footage of Britt Baker receiving a kendo stick attack while Adam Cole watched, handcuffed to the bottom rope. And then Adam Cole revealed that he recruited Sabu to back him up against the Jericho Appreciation Society on Sunday night. As far as the match with Daniel Garcia goes and Roderick Strong, I'll give this about 2 3/4, teetering on 3. With little time for expectations to skyrocket, the match was a nice little display of technical skill that saw Strong pick up the win and earn momentum he will hope to carry on in a post-Double or Nothing AEW. Beyond that, there was not much to this one, which is unfortunate because with a bit more time and without the breakneck pace of a Tony Khan go-home show, it could have been a TV Match of the Year candidate. And Roderick Strong delivered End of Heartache for the win. So that was 2 3/4 to 3. So Michael Bullock, your thoughts on all this? Sabu, ECW legend, the homicidal, genocidal, suicidal, death-defying Sabu will be in the corner of Adam Cole as part of that non-sanctioned match with Jericho Sunday. And then Roderick Strong knocking off Daniel Garcia 8 minutes, 45 seconds.
Yeah, as far as this contract signing goes, I hate to say this to you, Florio, and I agree with you. This was just utterly disappointing. I mean, I was expecting more out of this. I mean, especially with the way they first built this, and now it seems like it's lost some of its luster. And originally, Florio, I mean, I was looking forward to this match, especially with this being unsanctioned, but after the lack of build, it's gone since the whole Britt Baker thing. It's just, it really hasn't hit home with me. So, and I can't believe I'm saying this. This match here, which I agree is 2 3/4 to 3, this match was better than the contract signing. I can't believe I'm actually saying that. But you know what? It is what it is. So Florio, let's move on.
All right. And then I believe we moved on. Yes, this is the main event of the evening. The Lucha Bros, Penta El Zero Miedo and Rey Fenix with Alex Abrahantes in their corner, squaring off against Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta of the Blackpool Combat Club. Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships on the line. The winners of the match in 10.5 minutes, and still the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, the Lucha Bros, with a little help from the Young Bucks. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was another good match here. I'll give this about maybe 3 to 3 1/4 on this one. I mean, to me, the outcome was never in doubt because the thing is, you want to build this feud, of course, with the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. So, the Young Bucks costing Claudio and Wheeler Yuta a chance to become the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions was the right thing to do here. So, it definitely adds more to this feud. So, that's just my take on it. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 3 to 3 1/4 for this one. Well, more like 3 1/4, teetering on 3.5. Second best fight of the night. The Swiss Superman and the reigning Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion team with Blackpool Combat Club partner Wheeler Yuta to challenge the Lucha Bros for the Ring of Honor tag titles in a fantastic main event that saw dramatic near falls and jaw-dropping high spots before an unexpectedly screwy finish in which the Young Bucks cost the heels the straps. The match itself lived up to expectations based on the talent involved, but as the final hype for the Anarchy in the Arena match at Double or Nothing, as it was booked to be, it fell flat. Matt and Nick Jackson costing the challengers, no appearance from Kenny Omega or Hangman Adam Page, and another generic blood and guts type promo from Jon Moxley made for a rather dull conclusion to the show. For a match that is expected to be the selling point of Sunday's pay-per-view, it deserved a strong sell than what we got. Like the end of last week's show, which was red hot, newsworthy, and created a ton of buzz for the contest. And Bryan Danielson said to Excalibur on commentary in a nod to William Regal, "It's always nice to be out here with you, Man in the Mask." And he also said on commentary, "Do you think the Kenny Omega that we are seeing now is the best Kenny Omega we've ever seen? Do you think the Young Bucks we are seeing now are the best Young Bucks we've ever seen?" Almost certainly with a point before being interrupted. And then Danielson cited the teachings of William Regal and Wheeler Yuta's ability to tuck his neck and avoid serious damage despite a big pile driver by Rey Fenix. The Young Bucks appeared from under the ring and took out Claudio Castagnoli, leaving Wheeler Yuta to fall prey to the fear factor as the Lucha Bros retained the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. And Jon Moxley vowed that Anarchy in the Arena would be the most brutal, violent match in AEW history, which seems rather unlikely considering that one with the exploding ring gimmick. On second thought, never mind. So that's all there is to say there. 3.25. It was a 3.5 star, but I bumped it down to 3.25 for the finish. So, all right. Double or Nothing, as far as overall goes, Double or Nothing feels like the coldest pay-per-view in AEW history. That is less a criticism than an observation from someone who has, from us, who we've covered almost every episode of Dynamite since day one and our fair share of AEW pay-per-views. There has been a decided lack of urgency throughout the build with rushed booking and sometimes nonsensical decisions to boot. All of those things were on display tonight with a show that felt more like a build to a show that is 3 weeks out than a pay-per-view that is 4 days away. That some of the segments fell flatter than Tony Khan may have envisioned when he booked them did not help. Tonight's show was disappointing, to say the least, with everything coming across just slightly off or flatter, lacking the spark one hopes for from the last opportunity to leave an impression ahead of one of the biggest shows of the year. With that said, the card is still an impressive one that will likely generate interest in buys based on potential alone. Chris Jericho versus Adam Cole is a dream match for some. Anarchy in the arena may not be everyone's cup of tea, but the violent chaos certainly has become a staple of the company. The AEW World Heavyweight Championship Fatal 4 will be the best part of the entire feud as the talking, for better or worse, ends, and 4 of the most talented young stars will steal the show with the top prize in the company at stake. Fans should absolutely order Double or Nothing and enjoy what will be a great night of in-ring action, as most AEW pay-per-views tend to be. It would just be nice if the booking ahead of the matches themselves was more coherent, urgent, exciting, or in some cases, even remotely interesting. So, 3 good matches. A couple okay segments here and there. I could probably only give this maybe 6.5, to be honest with you. So, not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this, and then we'll get into the Celtics chat.
Yeah, I'm with you. 6.5. I mean, you had 3 good matches. You had 2 okay segments, and yeah, there were some things that I thought definitely could have been better. I mean, this is the go home to Double or Nothing. I mean, I would have expected a much better effort from AEW, but it is what it is. So nothing more to say except, Florio, it's time to get into the Game 4, the Eastern Conference Finals edition of the Celtics chat.
Yes, indeed. Down and
which, by the way, will not be the last Celtics chat.
At least not now. Down 9 early in the third quarter, down 3-0 in the series. The Boston Celtics knew their season was completely on the brink. 3 minutes later, everything looked different. Jason Tatum had 33 points and 11 rebounds. Jaylen Brown added 17 points, and the Boston Celtics staved off elimination in the Eastern Conference Finals by running away in the second half to defeat the Miami Heat 116-99 in Game 4 Tuesday night. Jason Tatum simply said, "We were just trying to save our season." They most definitely found a way to do that. The 2 big differences: a 30-point edge for the Celtics on 3-pointers and an 18-0 run in that 3-minute third quarter spurt that changed the game, and they hope might end up changing the series. Joe Mazzulla said, "We can't relax. We have to keep the same level of intensity, the same mindset, the same focus in the next game." Derek White scored 16 points. Grant Williams had 14. Al Horford added 12. And Marcus Smart scored 11 for the Celtics, who still trailed the series 3-1, but sent it back to Boston for a Game 5 on Thursday, later tonight, in about 18, 19 hours from now. Jimmy Butler scored 29 for Miami, which was outscored 48-22 in a 14-minute stretch that turned the game and perhaps the series completely around. Boston would also have Game 7 on its floor as well if they can keep extending this series. Jason Tatum said, "Tonight we played with pace, purpose. We were getting stops. We were getting out in transition. You see layups and free throws go in. The jump shots start to feel a lot easier." Gabe Vincent scored 17 for Miami. Caleb Martin had 16, and Bam Adebayo added 10. The Heat shot 8 of 32 on 3-pointers, while Boston was 18 of 45. No team in NBA history has ever successfully rallied from a 3-0 deficit in a best-of-7 series. 150 have tried, 150 have failed. But the Celtics gave themselves hope. And Joe Mazzulla said, "We don't really have a choice. It's do or die. Got to stick together." Jason Tatum's second three-pointer of the night was the 220th of his postseason career, passing Paul Pierce for the most in Celtics playoff history. Boston's last four-game losing streak was in May 2021, late in the 2020-21 regular season. Tatum's jumper with 9:22 left put Boston up 7, stopped the Heat spurt, and was his first fourth-quarter field goal of the series. Gabe Vincent left early in the fourth quarter after turning his left ankle. Miami was bidding for its first 5-game winning streak of the season, not the postseason, the whole season. Its longest win streak of the regular season was 4 games back in December. Heat guard Tyler Hero, who broke his right hand in Game 1 of Round 1 at Milwaukee, had his brace off and is resuming workouts. He's starting the process. Their coach Eric Spoelstra said there's no timetable, but he does have the brace off, and he's able to do ball handling and some shooting. So get into some quick numbers here. Jason Tatum, 33 points, 11 rebounds, also had 7 assists. Let's see. Jaylen Brown, 17 points. Derek White, 16. Al Horford had 12 points, 7 rebounds. Grant Williams off the bench, 14 points and 6 rebounds. For Miami, it was Jimmy Butler, 29 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Vincent had 17 and 4 assists. Caleb Martin, another great game off the bench, 16 points, 4 rebounds. Kyle Lowry, 5 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds off the bench. And those are really the notable box score numbers. Team numbers, Boston shot 51.2% from the field, 43 out of 84. Miami was 34 out of 78 for 43.6%. As I stated before, Boston, 18 of 45 from three-point range, 40%. Miami, 8 of 32, 25%. The free throw edge went to Miami, 23 of 28, 82% from the line. Celtics, 12 of 18 for 66.7%. Offensive rebounds, 12-7 Miami. Defensive rebounds, each team had 32 defensive rebounds, 44-39, the rebound advantage for the Miami Heat. The Celtics had 28 assists. Miami had 18 assists. The steals were 8-5 in favor of Boston. Celtics had 8 blocks. Miami had only 2. Heat committed 16 turnovers. Celtics only committed 10. Boston outscored Miami 27-14 in points off turnovers. That was a difference maker. Boston also outscored Miami 18-10 in fast break points. Miami outscored Boston 46-40 in points in the paint. The Heat committed 18 fouls. The Celtics committed 24 fouls. No technical fouls. No flagrant fouls. Miami's largest lead was 9. Boston's largest lead, 18. Michael Bullock, Game 3 this past Sunday night, a complete and utter embarrassment. Angry Celtic fans, very, very critical of the effort on Sunday night. A dud effort, if you will. But in Game 4, there's no question about it. The Celtics went from a dud performance to what I consider, compared to that performance, a 5-star performance in Game 4. And now, Bullock, your Celtics, they got the first one. There's still a lot of work left, but they avoided the sweep, and they got it, and they somehow managed to get the series back to Boston for a Game 5. Now that we're on Thursday, later this evening, a good 18, 19 hours or so from now. But nonetheless, Bullock, no sweep. Putrid dud performance in Game 3. 5-star performance in Game 4, and they could not have picked a better time to do it, man. What an effort by your Celtics in Game 4 to save their season. And now, you said it, one game at a time. What do they have to do? What do they have to do to win Game 5 in Boston to get it back to Miami for a Game 6 on Saturday?
Now this, Anthony Florio, this is what Celtics basketball is all about. This is the kind of effort that we should have had from the first 3 games. I mean, a better defensive effort here, and yeah, I mean, Bam Adebayo really wasn't that much of a factor. I mean, and this is what Jimmy Butler got his points, but because no one really exploded, this is the kind of effort you get. I mean, the 3-point shooting was definitely a lot better, and the thing is, they got to continue to do it. It's about one game at a time. You got this one. Now it's time to forget about it and to focus on Game 5 later tonight. And they need to do the same thing. Playing good defense, get good shooting. I mean, especially from the Jays, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and also continue to contain, at least try to contain Jimmy Butler, but also try to contain his supporting cast. So, and the thing is, I mean, Florio, if the Celtics can pull out Game 5, then I think you start to create some seeds of doubt in the Miami Heat to the point of like, all right, for Game 6, we really need to win this Game 6, because I'll be honest with you, Florio, if they can get it to a Game 6 and the Celtics then win that Game 6, I think the momentum all of a sudden goes back to the Boston Celtics, because Game 7 would be back at the TD Garden, and all the pressure would end up being on the Miami Heat. And I mean, yes, Miami's faced pressure before, but if it gets to a Game 7, the pressure is going to be right up there. But for right now, it's all about Game 5, and it's all about bringing out the same effort that we saw in Game 4. So that's what I think's got to happen. But like I said, one game, one quarter at a time, and like I said, I mean, if Celtics win this one, then all of a sudden they can think, well, 4 in a row. I mean, it's never been done before in the playoffs, and maybe they can probably get some shirts. Remember the shirts, Florio, that Kurt Schilling was wearing after the comeback against the Yankees? You remember what it said?
Well, actually, I don't, but I know you know.
It's why not us? I mean, why can't we? Maybe if they bring back those, I mean, they're like, hey, why not us? Why can't we be the ones to do it? And like I said, they gotta win this game. And if they win this game, Florio, I think you start to create some seeds of doubt in the Miami Heat,
and perhaps create some seeds of encouragement for the Celtics and their fans, including yourself. So
yeah.
So if they do, let's say they do win Game 5 and get it back to Miami for a Game 6, then I think you obviously would start to feel more encouraged, I'm sure.
Yeah, because then all of a sudden there's going to be a little bit of pressure on Miami. They're going to be like, okay, we really need to win Game 6, especially on our home floor, because if somehow they don't get it done, I'm going to tell you, Florio, I think there's a chance history can be made.
And what a story that would be in a postseason that, not only in the NBA but in the NHL as well, where incredible stories are the order of the day. And Monday night we saw the Denver Nuggets go to their first ever NBA Finals. Earlier tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Cinderella Florida Panthers punched their ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. I mean, so if that's a simple of unpredictability, we could get another one maybe in this series. But like I said, still a lot of work to be done. But
one game at a time.
But like I said, and like I told you, I mean, one game at a time. I mean, it worked here in Game 4. They just need to keep it going. They just need to simply put that in the past and just simply focus on winning this game. Worry about Game 6 when you get there.
And for me, it's very simple. Keep that same pressure on them like you did in Game 4. Take that foot off the gas and Whereas the goal in Game 4 was to take the Heat's home crowd out of it. Now you got to get your crowd in it, not take them out. You got to get them hyped. You got to have them red hot, and you do that, then we might have a shot at this thing. We might have a shot at getting this thing back to Miami for a Game 6 Saturday night.
So my message to that TD Garden crowd: you better bring back that damn energy, and you better bring it, because this team needs that encouragement. They need that fire to help this team will itself to a possible Game 5 win.
One game at a time. That's it. So
exactly. One game at a time. Focus on this one, and then worry about Game 6 when you get to it.
That's it. So with that will put the bow on this edition of Wednesday Night Madness. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you tomorrow night, 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25 for another edition of TXN Sports World. Unfortunately, we have to start with some very sad news. The passing of one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, Jim Brown. We will pay our respects to him. Light docket on the show this week. It will have that and Carmelo Anthony announcing his retirement from the NBA. And then we will preview Week 7 of the USFL. And then from there, we will have the Game 5 edition of the Celtics chat. And if it's warranted, maybe, just maybe, we might have some bonus commentary on this. So keep an eye out for that tomorrow night. And then Friday, time to be determined, Cerebral Smack Talk, big show, loaded show. Friday Night SmackDown. We'll see about AEW. I think we might have an AEW Rampage on Friday night. We'll have to wait and see. Now that the Florida Panthers took care of business tonight, we might have a Rampage Friday night. We'll see. And if so, and if it's in the necessary time, then we'll add the Rampage review to it. But there will be Friday Night SmackDown review, maybe an AEW Rampage review, and then a triple pay-per-view preview. We'll be previewing WWE United Champions from Saudi Arabia, NXT Battleground from Lowell, Massachusetts, and then AEW Double or Nothing from Las Vegas. So that'll all be on Friday, and then we'll put our heads together as far as the rest of the feature content, but that's all we can give you for right now. So until tomorrow night for TXN Sports World, Anthony Florio here, sitting in tonight for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom, Michael Bullock, and of course, in spirit, the aforementioned good old MF Michael Fletcher, along with, of course, always and forever, the First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Thursday. And until tomorrow night for TXN Sports World, you've been watching Wednesday Night Madness right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.